Hello friends and welcome to the top 10 free mobile horse games. These are all games I've played myself to varying extents, and while they all have in-app purchases, it is more than possible to enjoy these games without spending a single penny. I've also disqualified Star Stable since you can only play until level 5 before you're required to have a subscription. Let me know in the comments which of these games you play and if you found any new games to play from this list. Horse Hotel was released in 2017 and was developed by Equestrian Games. Yes, the same Equestrian that made Wildshade, but Horse Hotel looks more like their first attempt at a horse game. The premise is that you own your own ranch where horses come to stay at. They all have needs like water, food, brushing, petting, mucking out, and can be trained as well. You can then earn money by taking care of these horses for the day, which allows you to unlock more paddock slots, to then take care of more horses, to then earn more money. Just like the name implies, it's a hotel for horses. Simple really. It might get a bit repetitive, but something I really like is that the in-game purchases are not only affordable, but you can buy them with the in-game currency. Not many games offer this option, so if you are a fan of grinding, you get to enjoy all the premium perks for free. The graphics are, looks a bit like the game time traveled from 2005. The horses themselves look okay, but almost all of the animations are really stiff and disjointed. Certainly not the worst I've seen, but they won't be getting a realistic roleplay community anytime soon. Gameplay is very strange. Apart from the usual button clicking to get around, there are some really weird sequence and timings that you have to do for the training. When you're lunging the horse, you have to tap various parts of the body that pop up, which was a little strange, but then the horse will do some sort of move that can range from increasing speed, doing a bow, and even just straight up lying down and chilling for a moment. I think if anyone's riding instructor saw them doing this for lunging, they would never be allowed back into that arena. The jumping section was impossibly hard. I swear I was tapping right on or near the green area, but it wouldn't register my tap until a second later, making me fail every single jump. But the tutorial said I did an excellent job, so perhaps I was supposed to go crashing through the fences. Then you have your usual finger dragging for brushing, mucking out, and petting. Generally, not the worst game you can find, and if you wanted to try it out, it's on the Play Store and the App Store. Equestrian The Game, also known as ETG, was released in 2022 and was developed by Cavalry Games. If you're unfamiliar with my channel, you might not know that I'm not a big fan of this game due to its community management, high prices, and the fact it claimed it was going to feature, quote, the most realistic horse riding in a game ever. However, I will give credit where credit is due and say that for many, this is a really good horse game. When you start the game, you can create your character and be either male or female, which used to be really unusual for horse games, but now is pretty standard. Star Stable. Then you create your first horse and choose its appearance, breed, and temperament. From there, you can have your first ride on your horse where you arrive at your stable. In the game, you can compete in various competitions, breed, buy and train horses, upgrade facilities, and go on rides. The graphics are pretty mediocre and the color palette often looks quite washed out. By far the worst graphical element of this game is the human hair, and the horse hair is probably a close second. This is most likely down to the fact that the game has to be optimized for mobile, and so when we look at this promotional PC rendering of a Frisian, it looks absolutely stunning. However, we compare that to the in-game Frisian, and suddenly Star Stable graphics start looking a bit realistic. But a really strong point of the game is the horse animations. Each animation has multiple variants depending on how well trained the horse is, and then you have the collected and extended walk, trot, and canter, which is also a really nice detail. The controls in the game have a pretty mixed rating from players. I personally can't stand mobile games to begin with, so throw in some unresponsive and awkward reins, and you've lost me. They use 2 on-screen controls, your reins are on the left, and 3 buttons on the right which control your lead and increase your speed. But I think the idea behind the controls is cool, since it's certainly something new, but at times the execution was slow and unresponsive, especially for flicking the reins when jumping, which is a crucial element of the game. The prices for the in-app purchases are very steep, and while it isn't mandatory for progression, which is good, it means that if you want to keep the game totally free to play, you'll kind of be stuck in the default and downright ugly starter clothes. So while ETG is not everyone's cup of tea, I would recommend giving it a go for yourself to decide. You can find the download for it on both Google Play and the App Store. Ever wish there was a Subway Surfers with horses? Well, now there is. EverRun, the Horse Guardians, was released in 2018 and developed by Budge Studios. This game is super simple. Run into a magical world where you can swipe to avoid obstacles, jump over fences, and collect whatever this currency is called. Speaking of currency, you can buy this fire currency for money, but the biggest pack you can get is only £30, which is very reasonable compared to what other free games charge. Graphically, this game is stylized and won't be to everybody's taste. The horse models are fine, nothing particularly good, but not really worth commenting on. The animations can be a little unnatural and awkward while running, but you might find that you're concentrating on the run more than the horse, so it didn't bother me too much. The hair is probably the worst part, looking a bit like limp noodles that were unaware of regular laws of physics. Some of the armor can look quite strange too. I mean, look at this silly little hat. Gameplay is very typical of these running games, except that this game is horizontal, where usually these games are vertical. Anyone remember Robot Unicorn Attack? The runs themselves are pacey and throw some cool things at you. I personally love when you run out of the woods into the meadows and it looks visually magical. As usual, you also have a few goals to complete to earn extra currency, and you can try and beat your own high score every single time. The fire currency is used for pretty much everything, from energy replenishing food, armor, decoration, trails, and new horses. I think the pink petals are to make this tree bloom flowers, but I'm not totally sure of the lore here. Either way, it's a nice pick up and play horsey game when you have some time to kill. You can grab this game for yourself on the Google Play or the App Store. Our horse riding tales. What a complicated relationship we have. If you've played it on desktop, you know that it kind of sucks, but believe me when I say the mobile version is significantly better. Released in 2019 and developed by Foxy Ventures. This game is one of the more fleshed out free games. There is a storyline, you can roam in a semi-open world, catch wild horses, mine resources, and partake in competitions. The game has okay-ish graphics, but the textures and the models are starting to look quite dated. Due to a lack of shading and highlights on the objects, buildings, and players, the world looks really flat, a bit like what you'd see on the old PS2 games. If they added a light engine, that would make the game look heaps better, but I don't know how possible that is on mobile. My Horse was released by Monkey Fun Inc. and was released in 2012. Yes, 2012. I played this game when I was in my early teens, so I am biased towards it, but I do think that this game is worth a try at least. The graphics definitely reflect its age, and maybe it's just nostalgia talking, but I don't think they're that bad. Sure, they look crunchy as hell, and they stretch in weird ways, but to be fair, it looks pretty good for not being updated in 10 years. Horse animations are okay, but this horse looks really stressed out all the time. The trot is especially bad for it as it has a really strangely high gait, and the head and neck position would suggest this horse was in great discomfort. Or it was a saddlebred. But I do like the animations, like the jump and the high jump, but overall they are pointing in the right direction, they just need tweaking to be more natural and fluid. Gameplay is a nice balance between passive earnings for XP and money, and actual activities like a paddock cleanup minigame, grooming, mucking out, and feeding. You can customize your character and horse for both paddock time and competing. Then you have your usual competition mode where you have to get 3 stars in show jumping to be able to unlock more and harder courses. Although it is a simple time and tap activity, at least there are interesting camera angles. As for the in-app purchases, this game is probably in the mid-range of expensive. For example, the most expensive horse you can buy is the Rainbow Unicorn for 325 gems. For reference, a pack big enough to afford this unicorn would be around £20. But this is a one-off purchase and you keep the horse forever. Or you can buy a pack for $7.99, which comes with a full tack set, full rider set, a horse, and treats. I've made a few purchases on this game before, and I personally felt like I got my money's worth. You can find it on the Google Play Store and the App Store. Schleich Horse Club Adventures on mobile is a very simplistic game where you can create a horse, explore by tapping, and ride out. I can't say too much about the game because I could only play so long without being constantly interrupted by adverts. In summary, this game is cute in style, but it's a point-and-click adventure, and it might be more popular with a younger audience. As far as I know, there are no in-app purchases, which is important when you have a younger audience, but it means that you pay for it by watching ads non-stop. Personally, I wasn't a fan of this game, but you might find it to be your taste, so feel free to grab it on the Play Store or the App Store. I recently discovered this game and enjoyed it more than I thought I would. My Horse Stories was released in 2019 and was developed by Crazy Labs Limited. Think episode meets Heyday meets horses. The story is that you and your dad moved to your grandma's ranch, but plot twist, she's still alive! And a terrible ranch owner because her buildings are in disrepair, she's missing vital facilities that she makes you build. Your mum, who died 15 years ago, was a champion horse rider and you want to follow in her footsteps. There may also be a budding romance with a ranch hand. Who knows? I haven't finished the story yet. The game is visually very cutesy and simple. The horse model is a bit weird, but I suppose you could say that it was just stylized. I can't say much about the animation since I've only seen the canter and the jump, and I can only describe it as movement. It's not terrible, it's not great, but it's moving, so I guess that's what counts. Gameplay is pretty simple too, mostly dragging and clicking, but I will admit that the competition feel interesting because the longer you hold the jump, the bigger the jump, but it uses more stamina. I don't know why, but my brain enjoyed watching the hooves skim past the bar. While I only played a bit of this game, I can already tell that some of the timed elements are going to get really annoying. For example, when you build a facility or train your horse, it makes you wait real time. Although I was only waiting for around 2 minutes or so, it feels like later on the wait times would increase to the point where it would get pretty tiring. Personally, I'll be playing this game more in my spare time because I find it quite a funny little story and I want to find out what the drama is. Wildshade was released in 2021 and was developed by Equestrian Games. Launch of this game had mixed responses due to people comparing it to Alicia Online. Guilty. But honestly, I think this game is worth having downloaded, even if it's only to play a few races when you need to kill time. The style of this game is so clean and cute, it's really visually pleasing to look at. The horse model is pretty decent and the maps are different enough from each other, but still look uniform and on brand. The two main gameplay elements are racing and breeding. Normal racing is just called Tournament, where 3 maps are selected for you to run in and you can try and climb the leaderboard and get the highest score. Then there's the Campaign, which is a series of races you have to complete and win in order to unlock prizes and horses. But the higher up the list the races are, the harder they are to win because the AI gets better. You'll need to breed better horses in order to beat the harder AI. Breeding is pretty simple. You just take 2 horses, breed them together, and hope the outcome has a better or equal stats to the parents. Then you take that new horse and repeat the process. There are many little details that make each horse unique, from marking to hair and eye colour. You can also buy and unlock more tack, mane and tail styles and colours, and more. That's pretty much it to the game, but that's what I like about it. It's not super immersive or complex. I can just pick up the game, bang out a few races, then close the game. Great boredom buster if you ask me. Price-wise, I would say this is on the lower middle end. While individual horses can cost anywhere between £2.99 and £20, there are quite a few horses to choose from, so I can see where you might start stacking up the costs. The sun crystals are pretty reasonably priced too, with the biggest pack being around £20. You can find Wildshade on the Play Store or the App Store. Star Equestrian, or SE, was released just this year and developed by Foxy Ventures. If you want the ultimate open world free horse game, then look no further. The graphics are on the nicer side for mobile, and this time they included shading on objects, buildings, and the players. Yay! The The game is quite expansive with a large map, lots of quests, training, competing, and the best part, ranch customization. When I first saw this feature, I was flabbergasted because it reminded me of The Sims build mode for free on mobile. While the prices are on the higher end, you can still earn gems and keys through playing, so you probably won't find yourself with a hard paywall preventing you from continuing. If you want a game to really get stuck into and enjoy, then don't wait to pick this game up at the App Store or the Play Store. Rival Stars Horse Racing on mobile was released in 2019 and was developed by Pickpock Games. By far one of the best and most immersive games that you can get on the market. This game offers racing, breeding, and riding on top of stable management and training. While I adore the PC version, there are actually quite a few differences between the two. For example, in Rival Stars Desktop, you only have gold as a currency. In mobile, you have a free currency called silver and a premium currency of gold. Then you have race energy, riding energy, event tickets, roses, and diet tokens. All of these currencies or tokens allow you to do different things within the game. Speaking of premium currency, gold prices are not too bad, but you can buy packs up to £100. Gold options are sprinkled throughout the game, and while it's not always progress hindering, it probably starts to feel a bit pay to win because players who buy gold and offer packs, they will have a jumpstart on other players. Something I think was a brilliant idea, instead of randomly making ads pop up or offering to give you extra items just for watching an ad, they have kept the ads on brand by saying that you have secured a sponsor. This sponsor will give you extra items for watching this advert. Small details like this is what set Rival Stars apart from your average horse game. It also has some of the best graphics, and while they look so much better on desktop, they still look really good on mobile. Rival Stars is one of the only games, to my knowledge, that used mocap to sculpt and animate their horses. This has resulted in incredibly realistic and immersive models and movements. If you love a visual feast of realism, this is your game. Gameplay is a mix of riding, racing, and waiting. Unlike on desktop, most actions have a timer before they complete. So training, breeding, moving horses in and out of the pasture, and upgrading facilities all take a varying amount of time to complete. To moderate how much grinding you can do, racing costs racing energy, which you must either wait to refill or purchase a refill. The races themselves are still as exciting on desktop, but unlike on desktop, there are live events and teams. These are some really cool functions where you compete against other people's times for rewards, and you can join a team and compete against other teams. To help guide you through the game, there is a storyline where you aim to rebuild the reputation of your dad's racing yard, and you get objectives to help you progress. Overall, this is a great game to just get stuck into or to play casually, and I would really recommend giving it a go. And that is it for my top 10 free horse games on mobile. Let me know what you think of these games and if you know any that I missed. So I hope you guys enjoyed, stay positive, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!